In today's video, we're going to talk about manners. What do you think are some good manners?
It's always important to be polite, to say please and thank you, and generally have good manners. Some good examples of good manners are helping people. So if somebody drops something, you could pick it up for them. Or if somebody has a heavy bag, you could help to carry it for them. And on public transport, if the bus or train is full and you see an elderly person or somebody you think would like to sit down, then you should give up your seat for them. Also, being aware of other people as you're walking along the street. Some people are looking at their phones so much that they bump into other pedestrians. Other good manners include not being too loud on public transport. If you're having a phone conversation, don't shout. Try to keep your conversation private.
And what do you think are some bad manners?
Well, for me, one of the worst manners is swearing and using bad language, especially on public transport where other people are next to you or behind you in the seats. Another example would be if you're walking into a shop and you're holding the door open, then you let it close when someone else is coming behind you. It's respectful to hold the door open for the person who's following you. Not if they're too far behind you, but if you know they're coming through the door, then you hold it for them. Another bad manner that I hate is people who don't use the rubbish bins or just throw bottles or sweet wrappers on the floor, and also chewing gum, because it makes a mess everywhere. And you could easily take your rubbish home with you if you can't find a bin. In general, I think you should behave how you would like other people to behave. For example, if you're in a restaurant and you have children with you, then it's not nice to let them run around or shout a lot. I think it's important to control your children or teach them how to behave in a proper manner. And in supermarkets too.
The next question is, what are some good table manners?
This is quite difficult because it can differ depending on what country you live in. But I know that in England we usually eat using a knife and fork when we eat our dinner. And then when you finish your meal, you put your knife and fork together on the plate, especially in a restaurant. I was taught at a young age that you don't put your elbows on the table. You don't talk when you're eating, when you have food in your mouth, for example. And you don't slurp your drinks. I was taught a lot of table manners when I was young. It was very important to my parents that if we went out to eat anywhere, that we behaved in the correct manner. And one important manner to remember in England especially is not to burp at the table. I think that in some cultures it's a sign that you've enjoyed your food, but I know that in England it is frowned upon.
The next question is, do you say hello to people even if they are strangers?
Well, this depends on where you are in England and whether you're in the city or the countryside. I found that in the northern part of England, people are very friendly and you're expected to say good morning, good afternoon or hello as you pass them in the street. Not everybody, but in certain situations. And I quite often talk to people at the bus stop. You have quite a nice conversation with people while you're waiting at the bus stop. But as you go further south, especially in the cities, you wouldn't talk to people on public transport at all. I think that it's frowned upon and they would look at you as if you are quite crazy if you started saying good morning to random people. It really depends on where you are and the situation. For example, if you were on a walk in the country, you would say hello to other dog walkers or people on the canals. But if you're in the supermarket, you wouldn't say hello to random strangers. It could also be because I'm older, and older people would tend to say hello more than a younger person.
And what's a good way to teach manners to children?
The only way to teach good manners to children is by example. If you have good manners yourself, then they should copy you. And often children who have bad manners, it's because they've copied their parents. You find that their parents eat in the same way or talk in the same way without respect for other people.
What are some bad manners in your country that no longer exist?
I remember that growing up, there used to be a lot of cigarette ends on the floor, on the ground, in the street. And now you don't see so many, but that is because people have changed to vaping instead of smoking cigarettes. I don't think that people swear as much as they used to. I think that it's more shocking now when you do hear swearing on public transport, and it makes you feel more uncomfortable than it used to. I think that years ago it used to be the normal for young lads to be swearing and messing around. But now I think there's a lot more respect for other people.
And why do you think having good manners is important?
Well, I think they're important to some people and not to others. And so if you think that they're important, then that's how you live your life, showing respect to other people. But in some areas, you find people where they don't consider other people and they have bad manners, but it doesn't bother them at all. But I was brought up in a way that you had good manners and you were expected to behave in a responsible way.
And do you think that manners can affect your success in life?
Yes, I do. If you were going for a job interview, whether it's online or in person, you would be expected to behave in a proper manner and to dress accordingly and to speak politely. If you went into a job interview with bad manners and scruffy or dirty clothes, then I wouldn't expect you to get the job.
And finally, do you people have more good manners now or in earlier times?
Well, in my experience, people have better manners now. But as I said, I'm now of an older generation, so maybe people have got more respect towards me as an older person. I think if I went out to a club or a bar, I might find that younger people didn't have good manners. But my experience at the moment is that people's manners are better than they used to be.
If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.